Welcome to this video tutorial on how to enter and view TPOT or TPITOS data into the Pyramid Model Implementation Data System in South Carolina. Remember, data collectors, before you can enter any TPOT data into the system, two things need to have been set up first. Classrooms in our classroom dashboard for those that are being observed, and then Pyramid Model Professionals for your teachers, teaching assistants, and your TPOT reliable observers. So before we enter data, let's double check to make sure those things have happened. If I take a look at my classroom's dashboard, I can see that I have 7 classrooms entered into this system. The one that we are entering observation information on today is 054R05, Pre-K Classroom 1. And the observation was conducted in the AM classroom, but I do have an option for a PM section here as well. So our classroom is there, and we know that it is supported by a not supported by a substitute. So we know a little bit about what's happening in the classroom. Now let's take a look at our Pyramid Model Professionals. From my notes from my data collection tool, I know that Minnie Mouse is the teacher assigned to classroom 054R05, but I just want to look at her details to make sure that that's correct. She's had her pyramid model trainings. She started as a teacher of record in this classroom at the beginning of the school year. And I can see from her assignment history that both the AM and PM section have been assigned to her, and she is the lead teacher. I also know that she has a teaching assistant, Joe Mike, and he should be assigned to her as well. So let's look at his details. Joe Mike, still new and hasn't had his pyramid model trainings yet. He has been assigned as a teaching assistant and was also given the assignment history in classroom 054R05 as a teaching assistant for the AM and PM sections. So I know that I have my 2 teachers assigned to the classroom, but what about my TPOT reliable observer? I have asked Rachel Green to observe in this classroom. And so I want to make sure that she has an assignment and that she has her TPOT reliability training noted as well. So let's look at her details and make sure these are there. She is a TPOT reliable observer as of June 1st, 2023. Remember, our TPOT reliability is good for 3 years. So this reminds me that as it gets closer in 2026, we're going to have to look at having her a refresh. Her job functions with our program is to serve as a TPOT reliable observer, a behavior specialist, and she's also a leadership coach. And it does look like she has been assigned as a TPOT reliable observer to our AM section of this pre-K classroom. So she is set to not only observe the classroom, but we can enter her data from that observation as well. So I'm going to close out of this record and now go to the TPOT observation screen. So my TPOT observation dashboard, I have 2 options. I have an observation so that we can enter that data in. And then I also have a schedule so that we can keep track of when TPOTs should be conducted and keep them at regular intervals. Today, I'm just going to be entering in a new TPOT observation. So I'm going to click that Add TPOT Observation button. The date is the 19th. So this happened yesterday. And the start time, I'm going to have to make sure I'm clicking on the start time and you're right where the time is at, or it will skip over. It started at 9:00 a.m. because this was in our morning section, and it concluded at 11:00 a.m. We were in pre-K classroom 1, and I have 2 options, but Rachel is the one that we assigned, and so we're going to choose her as our observer. Both teachers were present at the start of the observation and at the end. We had 1 person who entered during the observation. It was a parent dropping off their child late. At the beginning of the observation, there were 6 children. We added a late one at 7. And then there were no instances of children with English as a second language or other considerations that we needed to make note of. So we're going to save this basic information. And as I scroll down, now it asks me to enter a TPOT participant. So Minnie Mouse is our teacher. And Joe Mike is our assistant. And we want to make sure that we put both of them in there. Even though our focus is on the lead teacher, we want to make sure that they are both in there because they were both part of this observation. And now I'm ready to enter in those key practices. Each one of these follows the key practices that shows up in your scoring book. And so looking and adding up what you saw happen and putting it here, including your not observed tallies, is how we'll follow this along. So for schedules, routines, and activities, number 1, we saw 8 yeses, 1 no, and our number 8 was not observed. Transitions between activities were appropriate, 7 and 1, mostly a great day. Did they engage in supportive conversations? Absolutely. And we had 0 not observed. Promoting engagement. We had 8 yeses, 1 no, and 1 that was not observed. For providing directions, they did a great job. Collaborative teaming. And we'll just enter down the rest of this subscale to making sure that we have all of our boxes have a number in them. So I want to show you something that I did, and I did this on purpose. Number 12 actually has 5 items for indicating persistent challenging behaviors, but I put 4 and 0. It could be a mistype or I miscounted somewhere, but I want you to know that I did that on purpose, and we're going to see why in just a second. For red flags, were there any red flags that you noted? So there might have been 1, but then the others were fine. And then below, it's going to ask us which red flag did we see? And okay, I'm going to choose that the majority of the day is teacher directed, so not as much choice. There were no incidences of challenging behavior, so I didn't observe essential strategies. And of course, if I didn't observe essential strategies for challenging behavior, there were no additional strategies. I want to click this form as complete because all the information has been entered. And before I could even click save, it tells me I have a problem. Here it tells me the combination of yes, no, and no not observed is 10, but it needs to equal 9. So it's going to validate for me and make sure that I am entering the proper number of responses. So I need to go back and look at my notes and look at my score sheet to make sure that I haven't miscounted anywhere. So I know that there was a no. All right, so now this is good to go. The 7, 8, 9, we add up correctly. Oh, I have another one down here that tells me I should have had equal to 5. So I've corrected that. I don't have any more red flags, and now I can save and I have that information. To enter the TPITOS observations, the process is going to be exactly the same. I can click TPITOS. And I have the same options. I can add a new TPITOS observation, and it's going to ask me to do the same thing up front, providing that basic information.